Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Country Life Outdoors, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. Some of you guys have asked, not me personally, but a lot of you have asked questions as far as whether or not color is important as far as crankbaits or any other lures. So, what I'm going to tell you is I was fishing a little bit earlier today and I didn't catch anything, but I did try and do a video a little bit ago and it didn't go through, so I'm remaking the video now. So today I was throwing around this Rebel jerkbait, and yes, as you can see, it's got some wear and tear on it all over, and that's mainly because I was using this for ladyfish, and I've caught so many ladyfish with it you won't believe, which is why it's got a bunch of damage on it. But on the offhand, I was trying to see if I can catch some white bass or some yellow bass or sand bass, if you call them that, with that particular lure. And I was using the Speed Stick by Hank Parker. It's not a limited edition, but it is one of his special editions. It's also got 6 pound line on it, 6 pound test with a 12 pound leader on it. Now I've also got the Googan Squad favorite fishing rod with 12 pound test line on it, no leader, just straight to the lure. And this lure is the X-Rap Rapala jerkbait that I tend to favor for both saltwater and freshwater. And the reason why is because of the fact that it looks so natural to a shad that bass, snook, redfish, maybe white bass would like it as well. So whenever it comes to colors, I tend to pick the most natural colors out there. And the reason being is because of the fact that you want to match the hatch whenever it comes to using lures. Like as far as if you were to use, if you were to fish for a largemouth bass, you would potentially use like a crawfish color if you're fishing like a lipless crankbait or even a jig or anything like that. You tend to use a reddish color or a natural color as far as a crawfish color or a brown color or maybe even a watermelon color whenever it comes to using jigs. But like I said, as far as a lipless crankbait or even a regular crankbait, whenever it's got that crawfish design on it, you tend to see that it's a natural red color. So, and that's one of those things that tends to stand out to me is that I like to use the more natural colors. Like I said, shad colors, crawfish colors, you name it, those are the colors I tend to stick to. I rarely use lizard colors or lizards themselves. Now, creature baits, I tend to use them mainly whenever you're fishing off beds. I don't use them all year round. I only use them during the spawn. But like I said, the whole natural color is key whenever, in my opinion, is key whenever you're fishing for a particular kind of fish. Now, this may differ also depending on the water clarity. If you're using if you're fishing in stained color waters, you want to use a natural color, or like if you're fishing a shad color, obviously you want to go with a more natural color, just like this. Or you can use a flash, mainly a particular lure that has like flash, kind of like this. And my particular reason for that is because I tend to, whenever I fish stained waters, I tend to see that there is a lot of reaction to flash and to natural colors, because they tend to pick up a lot further, and they tend to see it a whole lot easier whenever you use natural colors. Now, if you're fishing in murky water or something along those lines, like really, really dirty waters, I tend to use a flash color, or I picked this one up because it is a natural color, and I fish right off of murky water. And whenever I do, I pick up this natural color because it tends to blend in really well with the water clarity. And if you're fishing for, like, say, pike, or even a largemouth or smallmouth in some areas, and it's really, really murky, like on the lake that I particularly live off of, I tend to use like a fire tiger or a golden color, mainly because I want to use that flash to its advantage. And I tend to see that it works real well whenever you're using flash color or flash to its advantage. And you really, in my opinion, this is why I pick colors over size, because it's real easy to fool a fish into thinking that a bait is a whole lot bigger than it actually is. Now, big bass or snook or pike or whatever, if you use a lure that is actually bite size, just like this, but has a bigger flash, they tend to think that the bait is bigger and they'll go after it. There's an old saying that most fishermen most know, is that big baits produce big fish, and that is true. But at the same time, if you could fool a fish into thinking that the bait is bigger, and at the same time is an edible size, and at the same time, all within these three factors, if you can get the fish to think that the bait is big enough for them to eat, at the same time, a really big bait, that's one. Two, if you can get it to act like a wounded minnow, that's also perfect. They'll hit that. That's number two. Whoa.